Scene 1. Ferriss's journey to Thailand. Ferriss's background. A middle-aged Islamic historian and scholar from Amman, Jordan, who has grown skeptical but is haunted by his faith. His reasons for traveling: receives a cryptic letter mentioning a lost Sufi manuscript in northern Thailand. Flight and arrival. Detailed description of his flight, his thoughts on modern Islam versus traditional spirituality, and initial impressions of Chiang Mai Airport, sensory details, smells, sounds, mood. Scene 2. First encounters in Chiang Mai, meeting the local guide, Pak Daeng, a superstitious, rough but kind man. Ferriss's internal conflict between academic skepticism and spiritual curiosity. Discussion about the local Muslim communities and their mysterious customs. Some hints at unusual disappearances and the legend of the Silent Veil. Scene 3. Journey to the village. Travel description through dense jungle roads, abandoned villages, signs of decay and nature reclaiming human spaces. Pak Daeng shares local ghost stories and folk tales about Jinn and the supernatural. Richly detailed folklore. Strange incidents during travel. Shadowy figures glimpsed, unnatural silence in the forest, distant eerie calls resembling the Adhan but distorted. Scene 4. Arrival at the village. Detailed description of the village with old wooden houses, a mosque no one dares to enter after dusk, villagers' fearful behavior. Meeting the village imam who speaks cautiously about the veil and warns Ferriss about digging into the past. Atmosphere. Creeping dread, silence after sunset, cold wind, flickering oil lamps, whispers at the edge of hearing. Chapter 1. The Yak. Arrival. Scene 1. Journey begins. Ferriss felt the hum of the airplane as it descended toward Chiang Mai International Airport. Outside the window, the dense canopy of the northern Thai jungles stretched endlessly, like a sea of emerald waves under the fading sun. His heart pounded, not from fear but anticipation. For years, Ferriss, an Islamic historian from Amman, had buried the whispers of forgotten Sufi texts deep inside dusty libraries. Yet this journey promised to awaken something far beyond mere history. His hands tightened around the leather-bound envelope that had arrived mysteriously 6 weeks ago, bearing no sender's name, only the faint scent of oud wood and burnt parchment. It spoke of a lost codex, a forbidden manuscript, hidden in the ruins of a centuries-old Sufi zawiya deep within the Thai jungle, guarding knowledge about Jinn that the modern world had long forgotten. The letter's final line chilled him. The veil is thinner here. Beware what stirs in the silence. The airport buzzed with the usual chatter of travelers, but Ferriss's thoughts drifted to the veil, a concept from Islamic mysticism denoting the boundary between seen and unseen worlds. He knew this journey would challenge his faith, his science, and his understanding of reality itself. Scene 2. Meeting Pak Daeng. Waiting outside amid the humid air heavy with jasmine and exhaust fumes was Pak Daeng, a stocky man with weathered skin and deep-set eyes that seemed to pierce through shadows. "You Ferriss?" he asked, voice low, cautious. Ferriss nodded, handing over the mysterious letter. Pak Daeng studied it for a long moment before tucking it away. "We leave at dawn. The village, it's not like others. Strange things happen after Maghrib prayer." His tone was almost a warning. On the winding roads toward the village, the jungle loomed close, its thick foliage swallowing the fading daylight. The silence was oppressive. No birds sang, no insects chirped. Ferriss felt eyes watching from the dark. Pak Daeng told stories, weaving tales of Jinn, spirits both mischievous and malevolent, and the ancient guardians who once kept balance between worlds. "They say this land remembers every soul, every wrong. The veil between here and the Jinn is thin, thinner than a breath on a mirror." Scene 3. The village of whispered fear. Last, they arrived at a village nestled in a valley ringed by steep hills. Wooden homes with peeling paint and rusted tin roofs lined narrow dirt paths. But it was the mosque at the village center that held their attention, a simple structure, yet strangely forbidding. Its minaret stood crooked, casting a long shadow that seemed to swallow the light. Villagers avoided the mosque after sunset. "No one prays there after Maghrib," a woman whispered, clutching her child. "The Jinn come then." Inside the imam's modest home, an elderly man greeted them. His eyes were tired but sharp. "You seek knowledge," he said slowly. "But be warned, some knowledge carries a price. The veil was meant to stay closed. It is only with great peril that one might glimpse beyond." As darkness fell, the call to prayer echoed faintly, but no muezzin's figure appeared. Ferriss's heart raced as he realized the call was not from any human voice. The veil was stirring. Scene 4. Nightfall and the first warning. That night, Ferriss lay on a thin cot, the sounds of the jungle muted and heavy. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the open window. A faint whisper caressed his ear. A voice in Arabic, ancient and urgent. "Beware, seeker. The silent one watches." The words chilled him to the bone. Ferriss closed his eyes, but the voice echoed again and again, weaving itself into his dreams. Faces appeared in the darkness. Faces of Jinn, some twisted with rage, others calm yet terrible in their stillness. He awoke gasping, drenched in sweat. The journey had only just begun. End of Chapter 1, Chapter 2. The Veil Thickens. Chapter 2. The Veil Thickens. The morning sun filtered weakly through dense clouds as Ferriss awoke with a lingering chill in his bones. Last night's whispers still echoed, faintly in his mind. He dressed quietly, mindful not to disturb the sparse household. Outside, the village was waking. Women drawing water from the well, children whispering among themselves, men preparing for work in the fields. But all eyes quickly shifted to him as he stepped outside, a stranger bearing secrets. Pak Deng met, him with a grim nod. "You heard it too," the guide said softly. "The veil here, it's restless." His voice carried the weight of many silent warnings. Ferriss's steps took him toward the mosque, despite the unease pressing on his chest. The mosque's walls, though cracked and weathered by time, were still covered in faint Arabic inscriptions, Quranic verses woven into geometric patterns, now chipped and faded. The heavy scent of incense lingered faintly, but the place was devoid of life. The wooden door creaked ominously as he pushed it open. Inside, the air was thick and musty. His fingers brushed over cold stone pillars and the cracked floor tiles. He heard nothing but the distant rustling of leaves outside. Then, a sudden breeze stirred an ancient prayer rug, as if beckoning. Ferriss knelt, whispering a quiet prayer. His voice trembled, not from fear, but from the solemnity of being in a place where sacred and supernatural intersected. As the sun climbed higher, Ferriss met the village elder, a wizened woman named Amina. Her eyes shone with a mixture of sorrow and fierce resolve. She told him of a curse that had fallen upon the village centuries ago, a pact broken between humans and Jinn, causing a thinness of the veil, allowing spirits to cross over. The Jinn do not seek to harm all, but they protect their realm. Fiercely, she said. Our ancestors forgot respect, and now we pay the price. Ferriss's mind raced. This was no mere superstition. It was history breathing through the veil of myth and fact. As night approached, the village plunged into a deeper silence. The call to prayer was heard again, distorted, echoing through the hills like a dirge. Ferriss felt the hair on his neck rise. Outside, shadows shifted unnaturally, and the stars seemed to flicker and vanish. That night, as he lay under a threadbare blanket, the whisper returned, now clearer and more urgent. You seek what was hidden, but some knowledge is a flame that consumes. Ferriss understood he had crossed a threshold. The journey into the unknown had truly begun. Chapter 3. Shadows among the trees. The jungle surrounding the village was alive, or so it seemed to an ordinary observer. But to Ferriss, something was deeply wrong. The thick canopy blocked much of the sunlight, and the air was heavy with a scent both sweet and sour, like decaying jasmine. Every step he took on the soft earth felt muffled, as if the forest itself absorbed his presence. Pak Deng led the way through a narrow trail, warning him to keep silent. "Many have entered these woods but never returned," he murmured. "The Jinn guard the paths, especially those seeking secrets that belong to them." As they ventured deeper, the jungle grew darker, the shadows longer, and the sounds of animals faded away. The only noise was the crunch of leaves beneath their feet and the occasional distant howl, a sound not quite animal, not quite human. Ferriss's heart pounded when they reached a clearing dominated by an ancient banyan tree, its roots twisting like serpents. Pak Deng motioned for silence and pointed to faint, weathered markings carved into the bark, sigils and protective symbols in Arabic script, worn by time but still potent. "These marks keep the Jinn at bay," Pak Deng explained, "but they weaken. That is why the veil is thinning.